What is going down, San Francisco 49er fans? The 49ers shut out the New Orleans Saints, and they moved 7-4 on the season. We're going to talk about everything that went into that game, the defense falling out, what the 49ers offense needs to do to continue to get back, get rolling. Let's go. Ready, ready, go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. What is going down, SDS? You already know the vibes. Dropping SDS in the chat if you're vibing after that W. The San Francisco 49ers come home from Mexico, and they take care of the Saints on their home turf. I'm very interested to see how the 49er faithful reacted to that game, because I think when we look at it, what's Jesse Wade? What a legend. I haven't seen Jesse around here in a minute. What's good, Jesse? Hopefully you and wifey are doing well. But the 49ers, man, I think defensively, we know what it is. This is probably, arguably, is the best defense in the NFL. At least they're performing that way. 4 consecutive weeks in a row where the San Francisco 49ers defense have held opposing offenses to 0 points in the second quarter. So the defense is playing lights out right now. They're playing at a completely different level. I would say they're playing at a more consistent level right now than the offense. I mean, offense, we've seen two sides of it, right? Against the Arizona Cardinals in Mexico, the offense looked unstoppable, efficient in rhythm, executing. Everything was working. And, you come back home, and Kyle Shanahan talked about it. He said that they knew this was going to be a pretty difficult matchup from the offense to the defense that the Saints have. The Saints have pretty good players on that side of the football. They have a defensive-minded head coach. So I think Kyle anticipated it being a slugfest, 49ers offense versus the Saints defense. But again, the 49ers offense really, the defense really stood up. There's 2 trips there that the Saints made into 49ers, basically the red zone, and 49ers said, nah, not today. You had that phenomenal play. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was Dre Greenlaw who stood up Alvin Kamara, like right there on the 2-yard line. And then Talanoa Hufanga comes in like a missile and pops that football out. It was pretty nice. But good to see the squad in here. What's good, local 49ers? What's good, Joey? What's good? Joel says we need to score touchdowns, but very good win nonetheless. Since we went to Mexico short week, can't wait till Armstead and Kinlaw comes back. And good news is that, hey, Eric Armstead, although he wasn't available to go this week, he did practice on Friday. So that is a good sign and a good indication that Eric Armstead could be back maybe next week against the Dolphins, maybe the following week against the Bucks. But we all know that defense is going to be even better once they get that interior shirt up a little bit with Eric Armstead coming back, potentially Javon Kinlaw. We'll see with Javon. We know that's kind of a fluid situation, so we'll wait and see with Javon. Obviously, if you can get Javon Kinlaw back this year and put him on the interior defensive line, that's going to be massive for the 49ers. But they're still figuring out how to get it done, whether it's a rotation of Hassan Ridgeway, guys like Drake Jackson kicking inside, Charles Omenihu kicking inside, Kerry Hyder Jr. there's a lot of guys that are having to step up to kind of fill in the gaps for the miss. They are missing Eric Armstead. They are missing Javon Kinlaw a lot, but they are still able to be absolutely clamps. Um, I thought one of the biggest takeaways from this game. I don't know what you guys think about this, but the referees were terrible. This was probably, I'm not going to say probably, it was the worst officiated game in the sense of the amount of penalties, the type of penalties, the consistency of penalties I've ever been to in my life. That might even go for when I was playing back in the day. I can't think of a game that had so many penalties. There was a sequence where there was 4 plays in a row. Each 4, each individual play had multiple penalties back to back to back to back. I'm like, what? So what are we doing here? And like some of the penalties were just bad. Some were, of course, they were worthy, but it's weird. It's a weird game from a referee standpoint. Um, But that didn't stop the San Francisco 49ers from taking care of business. Jimmy Garoppolo, he didn't absolutely light it up. He went 26 of 37 for 222 yards and a touchdown. There was an interception. Speaking of penalties, Jimmy did throw an interception, but that was one of the penalties that made sense, where I think it was Ray McLeod was coming over on a crosser, and the middle linebacker for the Saints bumped him, and it threw off his trajectory for his route. And so Jimmy threw it to where he thought Ray was going to be, but because of the contact, that was reversed. So that was a good penalty. That one makes sense. But yeah, it was a crazy day nonetheless. The 49ers did deal with some injuries as well. Elijah Mitchell has an MCL sprain to the opposite knee, in which he injured week 1 against the Bears. So that was unfortunate. You want to see Elijah Mitchell out there, especially after his performance against the Chargers, and you want him to kind of build back up and get his legs under him. But we'll see. It does sound like Elijah Mitchell will be out for a couple weeks, so we'll see. We'll continue to monitor that. Christian McCaffrey did go out of the game as well. I saw him on the sideline getting worked on. It was his left knee. They kept working on it after he had exited the game. But the good thing with Christian McCaffrey is he did come back in. The silver lining here is we did get to see more Jordan Mason. And I'm very excited about that. Jordan Mason comes away with 5 carries, 25 yards, and averaging 5 per carry. Jordan Mason could see a little bit of an uptick in usage here moving forward. We already know Jordan Mason is a mainstay on special teams, but getting him in and getting him, especially on that last drive when the 49ers needed to burn clock, Jordan Mason did a great job of churning out and getting first downs. And again, being the physical runner that he is. So, we've been big fans of Jordan Mason since training camp. That was something that stood out right away, was again his just vision, his running ability. We got to see more of the physicality of Jordan Mason in preseason when they could actually tackle. But I'm really excited still to see the 49ers utilize Jordan Mason in the passing game. He has great hands. This is one of the more underrated things of his game in preseason. So it was good to see Jordan Mason. And again, Jordan Mason is someone that I think has potential to be a starting caliber running back in this league eventually, one day. Maybe not yet, but I think he'll get there. A player that stood out to me today that has been really ascending as of late is Juwan Jennings. I think Juwan Jennings is continuing I think Juwan had a slow start. I think we would all agree with that. I had a lot of high hopes for Juwan heading into this season. I was talking a lot about Brandon Ayuk. I was talking a lot about Juwan Jennings. I'm like, these are two guys in the San Francisco 49ers offense that I think can come out and have big time seasons for the 49ers. Well, Brandon Ayuk has been doing that. Brandon Ayuk is, I think he's wide receiver one at this point. And I don't think it's too much to debate. I really do think Brandon Ayuk is wide receiver one. So he has absolutely matured into what we thought he would be. But Juwan Jennings, again, had a slow start last year, especially in the playoff run. Juwan came on as the third down red zone guy, like one of the guys that Jimmy is looking for on those big play downs where you got to have it. And he showed up. But early in the season, he was kind of invisible. We didn't see a whole lot of Juwan. And we saw some drops. We saw some concentration things that was uncharacteristic of Juwan's game. But the last couple weeks, Juwan Jennings has really come on. And again, today, 6 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown. The touchdown that he had was beautiful. Jimmy Garoppolo threw basically a jump ball at the back of the end zone, is actually tipped by the defender. But Juwan Jennings just having the concentration to stay focused on the football, grab it, and bring it down for a touchdown. It was a great individual play by Juwan. Also, leading up to that touchdown, Juwan absolutely cooked one of the Saints cornerbacks. So, man, if the 49ers weapons can continue to come on like this, again, we know what Deebo Samuel is. Deebo Samuel had 3 receptions for 43 yards. He had 2 rushes for 0. The run game with Deebo has definitely taken a step back, I would say. But we still know that Deebo Samuel is a threat no matter what. Whenever he gets it, he can go the distance. Whether it's he gets the ball behind the line of scrimmage, 5 yards in front of the line of scrimmage, it doesn't matter. And we already know what George Kittle can provide as well as Christian McCaffrey. Ray McLeod, he only had 1 catch for 12 yards, but the 1 catch that he had was a big time third down conversion. That was a really nice play by him. So the 49ers offense, I would say, if I had to give an honest assessment of what I thought, I didn't think it was the best. I didn't think it was the most efficient. I didn't think it was the most rhythmic. Um, this this offense under Kyle Shanahan, you can really measure when they're playing well. Like you really can. And when they're playing well, there's a rhythm, there's a flow. It's like a symphony. It's like a dance. Like when the offense is working, it's hard to quantify because it feels like all the pieces are just fitting together and the next play complements the next play and this play complements the fourth play. Like there's just this rhythm to the 49ers offense when Kyle Shanahan gets in his bag and he starts calling plays and they start executing, they start getting chunk yardage. I don't think that was here today. Um, in the first half, it was like pulling teeth to get this offense like moving. Obviously, they were able to have some successful drives, but again, a huge benefit to have arguably the league's best defense on the other side. I know we're all biased here, okay? I know we're all biased. We're all 49er fans, but I am interested in to think what you guys feel about the 49ers defense, especially after this performance against the Saints. Is this the best defense in the NFL? Do you believe that? Do you think that they are performing at a level that we can confidently say they are the best in the NFL? And it's hard to really argue. because when you start looking at some of the statistics that are coming out and all that kind of stuff, Jason says, "No notifications. That's tough." I got the sense that there was no notifications because it was real quiet to start. I'm glad we got some people coming in here. I was all alone here for a second. I was just like, oh, it's just me and my ginger beard talking about the 49ers all by my lonesome. But it is good to see some of you guys hopping in here. We got like Charlene in here. We got Coach. We got Jason. We got some of the regulars in here. It's good to see the SDS. We got Boomer Rat, the Rat Man. We got we're starting to get some people in here. But appreciate you guys tapping in. But as you can see on the screen, the 49ers defensive ranks points per game first, yards per game first, rush yards per game first, yards per rush first down a game first, pass TD first. So they are absolutely in the conversation, squarely, statistically, all that good stuff. Oh, we got Brady. Let's go. We got Brady in here. Shout out the Facebook gang. Let's go. Shout out to the homies who said what's up. Ran into a couple people today. It's pretty. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty cool when people come up and they're like, "Hey, big fans of the Sourdough Squad." They're like SDS. I'm like, hell yeah, baby. I swear, we got a nice little movement. We got a nice little community, and it's always cool to go to the game and have people come up and be like, "Hey, man, SDS." I'm like, hell yeah, Sourdough Squad for life, baby. Let's go. We got a little late night gang action. Charlene said I've been stalking the channel. Charlene's a real one. That's hilarious. Coach had something good over here. What he said: the offense is ranked number 8th overall and 12th overall in scoring, with a backup quarterback, O-line that gelled at the right time, and a running back in and out all year. What more do you want? No, New Orleans was a real defense. Yes, I agree. He said, What more do you want, Coach? You know what I want. You know what I want, Coach. Don't act brand new, Coach. You know what I want. I want rhythm. I want consistency. That's what I want. And when I get that, and when we get that, oh, we get beautiful football. And you know it's true, Coach. And we did come on here saying that New Orleans defense is good. They have weapons at every level. So not surprised that they struggled a little bit. However, I want to see a little bit more. But that's hey. What do they say, Coach? Closed mouth don't get fed. I don't know what they're going to feed me, but I want more 49ers offense. We know the defense is there. We know the defense is there. I'm continuing to look week by week. I want to see the trends trending up, the arrow pointing up on the 49ers offense week to week. And let's face it, what they did against the Cardinals was nice. Oh man, what the 49ers went out and did in Mexico City to that Cardinals defense had me foaming at the mouth, because that's the type of 49ers offense that can win. Obviously, paired with that defense, they can go all the way. That's the team that we saw against the Cardinals that can absolutely be unstoppable. Even that team that we saw today against the New Orleans Saints, they can be unstoppable. Again, if you can't score points, what are we doing? Then all we need is a Robbie Gould masterclass, and the 49ers are winning games. So I'm being a little greedy, 100%. But I do think that the San Francisco 49ers always got room for improvement. Their run game, I think, today could improve. but we're just nitpicking at this point. We're just nitpicking at this point. But overall, good win. Not as rhythmic offensively. Ooh, what do we got? Oh, coach is heated. Let's go. I love when coach gets heated. He says, "This is BS in my opinion. The defense gets so much love for beating on weak teams, but they got blasted by KC and Crickets. But the offense gets all the scrutiny. The hypocrisy is wild." He said the hypocrisy. So coach's point, I hear you, coach. Coach's point is that the New Orleans Saints offense isn't good. And when they go up against a Colt McCoy led offense against the Cardinals, struggling Justin Herbert with no wide receivers, and a struggling Rams, the defense gets all the credit. But the vice versa, I see where you're coming at, coach. I see where you're coming at. Fair, fair, but it doesn't change the fact, coach. I want more. I hold Kyle Shanahan and that offense to high standards. I want more. And again, good win by all. Good win. And they're stacking together. And I think that's the biggest thing here moving forward is they are starting to stack together wins week after week after week, which also in turn helps solidify the identity in which the San Francisco 49ers team is. Last 2 years, the 49ers have come out first 8 weeks of the year. We have had a really hard time identifying the identity of the football team. But on the other side of those 8 weeks, that's when the identity started to gel, especially last year and this year. And it's starting to look a lot of the same. It's starting to look very similar. It's going to be a lot on the defensive shoulders. It's going to be a lot on the 49ers gelling offensively, waiting for it to gel, and the defense just being lights out. That's what it's gonna come down to. But once the offense kind of can match where the defense is, that's when we get the complementary football. That's when we get the rhythm within the game, all three phases working together, and then that is peak 49ers football. I don't think we're there yet, at least with this win. Last week against the Cardinals, all three phases humming together, working together. That was nice. This week, defense played well. Offense, little out of sorts, but not a whole lot. They were still able to get it done. And moving forward, there's plenty of room to improve and get better. And that's the best part. Is not only is there plenty of room to improve and get better, but they're starting to develop an identity. The offense, for me, I want to see a little bit better running game in between the tackles. And if they can do that and continue to be efficient in between the tackles, this team's going to be really hard to stop. Really hard to stop. What's good, George? And we got the big matchup next week against Miami. This is going to be an interesting game because I think Ted Nguyen of the Athletic, he did a really good job of kind of quantifying the offenses. They're both Kyle Shanahan schemes. They both have very similar functions and all these different types of things. But one is predicated on yards after catch, and one is predicated with speed. Speed being Miami, yards after catch being the San Francisco 49ers. So next week's going to be Get your popcorn ready. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait. It's gonna be a blast. They should have flexed it. I don't know what they were thinking. How could you not? How could you not flex that game? How could you? The world deserved to see that. They deserve. But let's do I want to see what you guys think. Who was, since we're on the kind of the topic of the 49ers offense, who was the offensive player of the game today in your opinion? Who do you think deserves that crown? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo with the 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions? He eclipsed over 200 yards. Is it Juwan Jennings? Multiple first down conversions, the touchdown. Who do you think? Brandon Ayuk had some big conversions as well. Is it the GOAT Jordan Mason? I love the Jordan Mason hive. The hive is buzzing. Uh oh yes, this is great as well. Very happy that everyone in the division lost for sure. But it looks like for offensive player of the game, we got Jawan, JJ, Jennings NBA, JJ. Shout out Jennings, man. Great game on offense. Jimmy G or Jennings, Ayuk, Jennings. I noticed Juice is out there playing with like a cast on his fingers. So he's gotten through injury right now. Yeah, I know. It's not flex because they can't flex the Cowboys. The Cowboys get too good of ratings. Too good of ratings, right? Jennings is the MVP. I can live with it. I think Jennings stepped up in a big way. I'm liking the Trent Williams love. I'm excited to get back and watch the tape. It's always a much different feel like being in person. Like when I'm in person, like you're like vibing with the energy of the crowd and the ebbs and flows of the game. You're not like watching everything on multiple replays. So I'm excited to go back and watch this game. Obviously, that's where I'll get a better idea of how they really played. But just from a vibe and a feel standpoint of being there, definitely played good enough to get the dub. Definitely played good enough to shut out Andy Dalton. But hey, they tried to get it close. They almost got it close, but the football gods were in our favor today. So we tip our caps to the football gods for allowing the ball to bounce our way a couple times. It looked like the Saints were going to score on that one play to Alvin Kamara where he got held up on the 1 yard line, and Talanoa Fonga just busted that ball out. It looked like he was going to score, or they were going to score, and then they had to go for it again on 4th down in their territory, just because they were down 2 scores. And the 49ers were able to get Nick Bosa was able to get his 11th and a half sack on the year. So it was nice. Bro. Killing me. Let's see. If Mason could get some good holes, he'll surprise a lot of you. Hey, we're waiting. We're waiting. Jordan Mason, we really needed to close that game, and he provided a much needed spark. Let's face it, we haven't had anyone run that hard since we lost Jeff Wilson Jr. With Elijah Mitchell down, look for more. Hell yeah. Preach. Preach. Hey man, if Jordan Mason can actually like get into a rhythm within this running game, when I say running in between the tackles, they want to run more gap scheme. Run Jordan Mason in your gap scheme. That man knows how to find holes. He knows how to cut. He knows how to like literally run behind his pads, and he will rock you. So very excited about that. Jordan Mason looks great. I would imagine we see TDP as well, but I don't know. Before Jordan Mason, not sure. Um, all right, let's do defense. Who was the defensive player of the game based on your opinion? Drop it in the chats. I want to see who you think is going to be the defensive player of the game. There's a lot of candidates, I believe. I think there's three main, four main candidates. Let's see. I'll go through my list as you guys are spamming your answers in the chat. I mean, Talanoa Hufanga, All Pro Talanoa. Talanoa Hufanga is, I mean, exceeding all expectations, and I'm someone who was high on Talanoa Hufanga coming into this season. Just he's playing lights out. Whenever you need him, he's there for the most part. And again, came up with that big play where he forced the ball out. Fred Warner everywhere. Fred Warner's just also Fred Warner causing a forced fumble early in the game, early turnover on Alvin Kamara with the good old peanut punch. Dre Greenlaw's all over the place. Nick Bosa with the sack. Some candidates to choose from. Let's see what the chat's saying. The chat's saying Huff. Fred always the MVP. Huff, Fred, Bosa, Hufanga, Fred, and Huff. Okay. Huff and Bosa, the Predator. Hufanga, Fred, the whole D, fair. Hufanga, Tongan Tiger, Hufanga, Fred Hufanga. Fred is absolutely a freak on the field. This is a tough one. In my opinion, it's really there we go. We'll take care of the entire defense and we'll just give it to D'Amico. We'll just give it to D'Amico. 4th straight game with a shutout in the second half. Just give it to D'Amico. Good job, D'Amico. You got your defense playing lights out. They're stepping up when they need to, and I'm excited. Like Coach said, Coach was saying, you know what? The offense gets too much heat. The defense gets too much praise. Well, next week, Coach, great equalizer. The 49ers are going to be facing off against a very good offense, an offense that they are familiar with in a sense of schematic standpoint. But they got Tyreek Hill, Waddle, good old Trent Sherfield balling out. So the defense is going to be put to the task yet again next week. And we'll see we'll see what that defense is looking like. But back to the defensive player of this particular game, I think it's between Talanoa and Fred, and I'm going to land on Fred. I think Fred is playing at a really high level. He's been doing it consistently for multiple weeks. The punch that he has is undefeated at this point. I really like Fred Warner. I like what Fred Warner's doing. He's impacting the game in so many different ways. When we had Jordan Elliott on, he did a really good job of kind of quantifying. He's impacting the game in ways that we might not even perceive in real time, based on how he's covering tight ends or slot players, the way he's performing and moving in coverage and taking away throwing lanes and throwing windows, the way he's able to affect quarterbacks as a rusher or a blitzer, even if he's not getting home. Um, and of course, what Fred does in the run game. So I got to give it to Fred Warner for this particular game. I think Fred's balling, but Talanoa Hufanga, it's like a 1A, 1B. 1A Fred Warner, 1B Talanoa. Also, hat tip to Dre Greenlaw as well. Jimmy Ward had a nice PBU at a big time, so that was nice. But I'm excited to watch the tape and see what more the trenches and what the trenches were doing uh, on the second watch. So I think it's crystal clear when we look at this game. Defense was the superior side of the football, uh, and that's okay. The 49ers offense still has plenty of opportunities to get this continue to improve and gel as a unit. Um, it does look like Spencer Burford is dealing with what did they call it? Jennifer Lee Chan is reporting that 49ers Spencer Burford is in a walking boot to keep his right ankle stable. Kyle Shanahan said it's not a high ankle sprain, which is good. So Spencer Burford was able to avoid the dreaded high ankle sprain. Uh, so that's good. But even if uh the 49ers had to be without Spencer Burford, Daniel Brunskill's been playing pretty well as well. So they have probably the best backup plan at guard in the NFL with what Daniel Brunskill provides. So you never want to see anyone go down, of course, uh, especially with a young player like Spencer Burford. But they were still rotating this game. So if Spencer Burford has to miss time, you're technically not losing anything because they already rotate. So just hope Burford can get back, get healthy, and get back into the lineup. And if Brunskill has to step in, I don't think they're going to really skip a beat from an offensive standpoint. So silver lining there with the Burford injury. And again, silver lining with Elijah Mitchell injury. It's not a serious MCL sprain. I mean, any MCL sprain is somewhat serious, but it's not like the previous one that he had. And like we've talked about, Jordan Mason is a guy who can step in and play right away. He hasn't got many opportunities. This was the most what did I mean, the last 2 weeks, he's put together some drives, some runs at the end of games. But other than that, he had one game heading into one carry heading into the Cardinals game. So Jordan Mason has an opportunity. I think TDP has an opportunity to get on the field now if Elijah Mitchell were to miss time. So we could see a little bit of that third round draft pick, Ty Davis Price out of LSU as well. And don't forget that the San Francisco 49ers still have Tevin Coleman on the practice squad. And dare I say, Melvin Gordon is out there. Melvin Gordon is out there. Good old Melly. Good old fumble Melly. But there's a coach right now that goes by the name of Anthony Lynn, who coached Melly for 3 seasons. Maybe practice squad. We'll see. Everyone's no, not Mr. Fumbles. Hey, I think Melly would do okay. I think it was all part of Melly's master plan just to get away from Russell Wilson. I think that was it. He's like, if I fumble enough times, I can get away from Russell Wilson. So, step one in his plan successful. Step two, get onto a contender and run like you've been there before. I think it could happen. We'll see. Side note, I asked for a double wrapped burrito at Chipotle. The guy proceeds to stack both tortillas on top of each other. And I'm like, is this your first time? My experience with double wrap burritos is there's a stagger. It's like a stagger. So like you get a little stagger to the tortilla, allows you more surface area, better rolling. He just straight stacked them. Like it's a straight double. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And proceeded to just really poorly wrap the burrito. So I haven't had a chance to eat it yet. But if I had to grade the burrito rolling skills, 1.3 out of 10. Not good. Not good. Wasn't impressed. Head back to the lab, watch the film. Your technique is not right. Fix it. We got to coach this guy up. We're not just double stacking tortillas. What are we doing here? It's our first rodeo. Come on, man. Generous 1.3 grade. True, but I was in expediency mode, trying to go fast. Did that work? I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. He said, "I'm trying." Oh, good stuff. Well, I'm glad I was able to come on and talk with you guys. CMC, is he hurt? He's a little hurt. I don't know how hurt. He was able to come back in, so that's a good sign. But we'll see. We'll see how it continues to progress throughout the week. What his practice status looks like, especially heading into a big time game against the Red Hot Dolphins, led by Mike McDaniels, Wes Welker, John Embry, a lot of former staff over there, a lot of players. Trent Sherfield balling out. We'll see. So is Mostert and Wilson. So Mostert was out today. Did Jeff Wilson get hurt today? So we'll see. We'll see how that progresses moving forward. But there's a little bit of drama earlier today with some of the comments that they had made. But listen, Mostert responded to it later, saying that as BS and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. Just a little bit extra spice heading into this game between What are they? 49ers South? I don't know. The Florida 49ers versus the real 49ers. Oh, the bots are out. The bots are feasting. So, let's wrap up this game. 49ers versus Saints. Again, shout out the defense. Got to tip your cap to the defense. When you look at the 49ers third down efficiency, 5 of 13. I think when we talk about the 49ers feeling a little bit disjointed, maybe a little bit out of rhythm, I think that's where it stems from. Typically, the 49ers have been a really solid third down conversion team this season, 5 of 13, not on the right side of where they typically are at. Um, so that will definitely change the way the offense looks. And of course, the 49ers did try to go. I'll say this. The 49ers did go for it on, was it 4th and 1 from the 1 yard line? I think it was like 4th and 1 from the goal line, something like that. And they didn't get it. Wasn't upset that they didn't get it. I was actually really happy that they went for it. I feel like Kyle this season has been conservative in those categories. And I do feel like with that 4th and 1 from the goal, like the 1 yard line, I didn't love the play, but I loved the aggressiveness. I loved the decision. I loved that they were like, we're going to go for it. They didn't get it. Defense stepped up and they got the ball back. Actually, they got cheated out of 2 points. They got cheated out of 2 points because that is that one sequence where they called pass interference on Diamador Lenore. Wasn't pass interference, but they called a face mask on their tackle. Based on where the tackle was called for face mask, that would have been a safety. So the 49ers actually could have added another 2 points on the board if it wasn't for that awful pass interference call on Diamador Lenore. I thought Diamador did a great job of locating the football, turning his head, and making a play on the ball. That's how I have learned to call defensive pass interference. Got to turn your head around, and Diamador did just that. So hey, uh, wasn't the best, but I like where Jason's head is at. What is our final grade for this game? Drop it in the chat. Let's grade it. Offense, defense, special teams, all 3 phases, head coaching, execution, all of it. What is your final grade of the day for this game? I will give you mine. I also think, let's see what the poll is looking like. All right. I think the poll's on point. Poll's on point. So let's see. Nope, that's not what I want. Go away. So I think that it wasn't a pretty game. I think that they could have played better offensively. I think special teams even as well. I think special teams was okay. This is the way YouTube has graded it. We've got 12K votes. 15% say A, 21% say B plus, 44% say B, 14 say C plus, and 6% say C. I probably am sitting around a B minus. If I had to give it a grade, I'm giving it 81.7. So B minus. And a big portion of that grade is being carried by the defense. Now, the offense didn't play terribly. They didn't play horribly, right? Like they didn't, only 1 sack given up. They punted 4 times, no fumbles lost, no interceptions. They won the time of possession battle. The penalties, got to clean up a little bit. They were able to have 21 first downs. So they were lacking offensively in the third down efficiency area, but there's still room for improvement. Still room to get it done. Still room. So I'm going to give B minus. I give B minus. I think if I had to grade the offense by itself, I'm like right there at like a 73%. Because I truly believe the 49ers offense can be better. I think they can clean some things up. I grade them also harshly. So I think, like in between a C and C minus. I think they could be better. I think they could improve. It felt like Jimmy wasn't seeing the field as clearly in the first half. I think he's kind of settled in and they started playing a little bit more efficiently and he was noticing and seeing the field a little bit better. But it did feel like he was missing some things. It just felt like I don't know whether it's just one of those situations where he typically picks like one side of the field to work his reads through. And it felt like it was just landing on the wrong side. It was like the opposite side always had someone open. Um, so I think there's room for improvement. I think the running game could be a little bit more efficient in between the tackles, things like that, and of course converting on third down. That's about it. But it won't take a whole lot for the 49ers to bump that thing back up to a high B, high A. We saw Mexico A plus. Mexico was an A plus plus for the offense. So it's okay. It's all good. We've seen the potential. We know it's there. We know it exists. Now it's just doing it consistently. And I think they'll get there. Steven, I've asked that question before and I know how it's going to go. And because I know how it's going to go and I think everyone else knows how's it's going to go, I'm just not going to ask it. I can't. You know the answer. Yeah, I at least you probably know what you're going to say. And I know what everyone else. I actually tried this last week or the week before and I was like, "Wait a second. I'm setting myself up here. Can't do it." We already know. We already know what you're going to say. Oh, good stuff. But again, appreciate you guys. What's tomorrow? Monday. So we got Victory Monday coming in tomorrow. And then quickly we're gonna be quickly turning the page towards Dolphins because I think this is gonna be a fun week. I think they'll lead up into the Dolphins game with Mike McDaniel versus Kyle Shanahan, the speed weapons versus the yak weapons, former players versus I think it's gonna be clutch. So definitely looking forward to tomorrow. Um, and the rest of the week, it's gonna be fun. Gonna enjoy it. I gotta eat my terribly wrapped burrito. So not really looking forward to that, but hey, it's probably gonna taste okay. It is Chipotle, so we'll see. Shout out to all you guys. Appreciate you. Smash that like button. Hit the sub if you haven't already. Grab your cookie on the way out if you stayed for the entire time. We appreciate all you guys. Again, no notifications went out on the live. Weird. Just do what Charlene does and stock the page, and you'll be good. So appreciate you guys as always. And again, shout out to any of the SDS that said what's up today. Appreciate you guys always showing love. Always good to meet you guys in person and vibe. Appreciate you. And we're going to do it again tomorrow. All right. Y'all have a good night. We out. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.